Hello, Tim from Fair Play now on the 19th of January 2023. I've been inspired to make this video today by an email I got from a viewer. He knows who he is, but I'm not going to mention any names, but hello to you. You know who you are. And it's a very, very interesting question he's asking here. Basically, the email starts where he's talking about he has these moments every now and again, you know, and he had one earlier today. So he's talking about these moments, and the moment consists of everything seeming normal. People just going about their business, getting on with life, and for the briefest moment I feel normal. Now, people like you and me know what's gone on and what continues to go on. We also know what was behind it, who collaborated with it, and all the people who went along with it wholeheartedly, even if they are now slowly starting to see it for what it is, a complete scam-demic. Worse than that, it was and is evil. My question is, when will we be able to move on? Can we live a normal life again? Or will we have to live with the dark experience of the last 3 years and knowing what went on until we shuffle off this mortal coil? Will we ever just get on with our lives and try to move on, or are we cursed? It would be great to have more moments where I just feel normal again, wide awake to the world, but not feeling like the world is just one big conspiracy and I'm stuck in its grip, unable to wrestle free. So, wow, what a deep question, eh? And I've got to admit, I have thought along these lines myself. Will we ever be able to move on from what we've gone through? Will we ever be able to regain some semblance of normality again, or are we just destined to go on forever as we have been these last 3 years? I don't know how to answer it really. I'm just going to say a few things off the top of my head which will hopefully provide this chap here and you as well my take on it, how I think about it. Will I still be making videos like this where I'm sort of going on about the fake tests, the big V, the lurgy, and what a load of old nonsense so much of the stuff has been? Will I be still saying that kind of thing, making these videos in 20 years time? Probably not. But will I ever be able to forget about it and go back to my 2019 self again? Probably not either. In some ways, do you ever want to, or even want to move on? Do you even want to go back to the old normal? Because it wasn't all it was cracked up to be, was it? You know, we were just so ripe for manipulation and sort of having all kinds of scams pulled on us. And I'm privileged now to be in the possession of so much knowledge and in the company of so many people, wise people, who have just given me so many insights and shown me how this world really works. And to have that knowledge is a privileged position. So I wouldn't want to go back to normal there in that way. But it would be nice to have a little bit of a rest from it, I've got to say, and to just get out there and try and feel normal again in just some little way. Now, one thing I was doing last year quite a lot, probably from the kind of mid-spring all the way through the summer and up till quite a long way into the autumn, was I was doing a lot of cycling. I was sort of going here, there and everywhere else, often going on the train with my bike, getting off and then cycling around and staying overnight in places. And that was something I hadn't really done. Yes, I used to do a lot of cycling when I was a lot younger, but I hadn't really done much cycling in recent times. I probably did about, last year I must have cycled probably 500 miles or something like that. I didn't really talk about it too much in these videos, apart from the time when I fell off my bike and hit my head in Manchester city centre, but maybe one or two other times, but I didn't talk about it that much. But the reason why I think I got back into cycling is when you're on the road with just you and your bike, it is like you're getting back to normal. You're moving on in some ways, not in a literal, well, I didn't mean in a literal sense, of course you're moving on your bicycle, aren't you? But it kind of helped me to just move on a little bit, I guess, to feel a little bit normal again, I guess. And yeah, I'm just been out in the countryside, cycling into towns, seeing new towns, discovering new towns, and then cycling back out into the countryside again. It really was a magical therapeutic experience or set of experiences for me, which I really like. And maybe that's one way you can do it. So maybe just get yourself out of your usual environment, whether it's out on a bicycle or out walking or whatever you fancy doing. Just get out there and do it, and maybe in that way you can begin to feel a little bit normal, if you want to call that, or like you've moved on, or just different. You don't even need to feel normal, you just need to feel different to how you were feeling in the last 3 years, and maybe taking up some kind of new hobby or experience or whatever it might be is a way to do that. I had another viewer who said they'd spent a really fantastic holiday, I think just before Christmas, in Vietnam. They'd sort of travelled out to Vietnam, and it sounds like they had a wonderful time out there. So that is something to consider. I might do a little bit of travelling myself as well, either with or without the bicycle. But I don't know, there's just so many things out there that you could do to get over what we've been through in the last 3 years. Obviously, we're never going to forget it, are we? No, that's not going to be possible at all. But we can move on from it a little bit. Time's a great healer and all that kind of thing. And providing, of course, they don't try and pull any other load of rubbish, which you never know. Which you never know, that might be a possibility or a probability. But what you've got to do, I think, is prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And I'm certainly mentally prepared for the worst, but I'm also hoping for the best. And I think we need to, as the viewer said in this email here, we need to be awake to the world, but I think at the same time we can also kind of live the life we want to live. And maybe that's another opportunity we've been given. We've been shown that you can't take life for granted, you can't take things for granted. Life can be short, and you just need to get out there and do things if you possibly can. If there's something that you've always fancied doing, that you've always put off, I haven't got time to do that. Maybe this year, 2023, is the year to do that thing that you've always wanted to do. Maybe. It's obviously up to you to decide what that thing might be, whether it is travelling or doing that hobby you always fancied doing, taking up painting, taking up photography. One thing I'd quite like to start doing, and I've kind of started doing it almost by accident. People have started asking me to go and film events, you know, like that Mark Devlin talk, and you know, a couple of other ones that I've done prior to that. And yeah, it would be quite nice to be the Truth and Freedom Movement's go-to videographer, and to be asked to go out and film people's events and any guest speakers they've got and that kind of thing. So that might be a new and exciting direction I might go into. Yeah, the world's full of possibilities, I think. It doesn't matter how dark things appear or how dark they might get. It's also a world full of possibilities. We're all our own sovereign. We're all sovereign in our own right. We don't need to give away our sovereignty to these third parties, you know, the governments, etc. That's the mistake we've made, I think, in the past. We've given away our sovereignty, and one thing I've learned over the last 3 years is to regain our sovereignty and to use it to do what we truly feel we want to do in this life. You know, is life just all about keeping your nose to the grindstone, keeping the boss happy, keeping the customers happy, earning your money so you can pay your bills and pay your taxes, doing that for, you know, 4 or 5 decades, whatever it is, and then retiring and then passing away? You know, is that the kind of normal you want to go back to even? Or do you want to move into another kind of normality now, where you're your own sovereign self and you live life how you want to live it, and you follow your dreams how you want to? Yes, it's not that easy, is it? You've got to keep paying your bills. You've got to keep the money coming in. I wish it could be different from that, quite honestly, but that's the reality. But perhaps every now and again we can take a step back and just do what we feel we're called to do, not ignore those feelings anymore, which I did a lot, to be honest with you. I used to ignore feelings of things that I felt I was called to do, and just thought, oh no, I'm not going to do that now. I might do it someday in the future. Well, I'm going to bring the future to now, and just anything I feel called to do, I'm just going to do it. So I don't know if I've answered this viewer's question particularly well. I've just run with what he was asking, what he is saying there, and just let a series of thoughts come tumbling out of my head. So I hope I've kind of answered your question. Sorry if it is a bit rambly and a bit nonsensical, but hopefully I've given you at least some kind of answer there. And yeah, I hope my thoughts here help people to try and put some perspective on the last 3 years, and to move on in whatever way you're able to. So I'm going to leave it there. I'll be back later on with another video about something that may well be uplifting and something a little bit different for you. But I'll give you more details on that later on. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.